I just realized, okay, so back to the Gary Yourofsky review thing here. I just realized because I didn't have the laptop plugged in and the battery died on me. I had all these notes here because I was remembering all these things like I could say about Gary Yourofsky, and I had all these. I took all the time to type out all these notes, and when the battery got so low that because I didn't have it plugged in, it died on me. Um, so the laptop turned off, all the notes gone. So that's very irritating. So now I have to remember, what did I type up? Ah, well, I was talking about speciesism, yeah, because that's something that Gary Yourofsky talks about. Okay, so I have the definition of speciesism here. All I had to do, the cable reaches. I could have just left it plugged in. Like I usually have the laptop plugged in all the time. Now I gotta remember everything. That's what I was trying to do before. I was trying to just do these review videos without having notes. I was trying to do everything by memory, but then afterwards I'm like thinking, well, I forgot all these things. Okay, so speciesism is, here's the definition. Human assumption of superiority, the belief that the human race is superior to other species and that exploitation of animals for the advantage of humans is justified. So that's what speciesism is. So that's how people justify what they do to animals. Okay, so something that just popped in my head, something that I had in my notes, like earlier in one of my earlier videos, I was not remembering all the excuses that people make that Gary points out, like the reasons why people consume animal products. One of the reasons, like I mentioned, culture, but and religion, but specifically, there's tradition. That's one thing that people use to justify killing animals, and specifically with Thanksgiving. So turkeys, yeah, that's a big one. There's a big reason why people eat animals. Like they feel like, oh, it's Thanksgiving. I have to eat a dead bird. Um, all my notes are gone. Okay, well, there's a music video that Gary did. It's an anti racism video song. It's a song that Gary performed uh, about racism uh, that he did a long time ago, and he's got a photo in the video of what he looked like at the time. It's funny because Gary has a shaved head like me, but in the photo, it's Gary with he's a lot younger, and his face is a little uh, thicker. He's got a rounder face, so maybe he weighed a little more back then. But he's got this long, dark curly hair in the photo for the video of the rap that he does about racism. Um, I don't know what I'm going to be forgetting this time. I don't know. Maybe it'll pop in my head later, but there's a couple points or a couple things I wanted to comment on in the videos on Gary Yourofsky's channel. I'll try to do it quickly here because my food is pretty much done in the oven. So he visits in some of these videos. He shows that he's visiting a animal sanctuary called Sasha Farm, I believe, um, which is nice. There's this one really large cow. I don't think it's an ox. I think it's a cow. It's a really big cow. He's got huge horns. I think he called him Big Red. So Gary shows he's got this bag of apples that he's feeding this really large cow. So it's really cute. And Gary has a story that he says how he kind of sneaks up behind where the big red cow is in the pasture, and like so he goes over this fence, and then when Big Red, this large horned cow, sees Gary, he starts charging toward Gary because he knows that he's got some apples, but Gary is concerned. Like he talks to the guy that is working at the farm, and he's like, should I be scared here because he's charging toward Gary, and the guy that works there says no, he's just happy to see you, basically. So kind of a scary moment. I don't think I'd be able to be brave enough if I see a cow charging at me, a large animal. I'd be scared. But so he was fine. He was just happy to see Gary because Gary brings him apples to eat. So that's cute and that's nice. Another cute and nice thing that happened on the Sasha farm with Gary Yourofsky is he was kind of he went over to this pig, and the pig he was petting the pig, and the pig tipped over, rolled over on their side, and Gary was rubbing the pig's belly. So that was cute. And another thing on the Sasha farm was I didn't know how goats really love leaves. Like I guess I just assumed that they just like eating grass. I've heard goats eat anything, like like things that they shouldn't eat, but like so I was kind of surprised when I found out in the video that goats really love leaves on trees. So it's funny that they like something that you don't typically see them able to reach. Although I have seen some goats like jumping. There's some type of goat that's able to jump into like up onto trees. Anyway, so there in the video, Gary he's like far away from the goats, and he goes over to this fence area and he pulls down this tree branch with all these leaves on it, and the goats just all these goats come running and they're talking in their goat language, uh, excited about the leaves that Gary is presenting for the goats. So it's really funny and cute how they come running. So they're chewing on the leaves there. So that was cute. Um, I think that's all I was going to say about the Sasha farm thing. It's always nice to see animals on animal sanctuaries because they're so happy there. Um, I think the only other thing in my notes that was lost when the battery ran out on the laptop was with Gary with the interviews that he's got some videos where he's uh, being interviewed. Not sure where exactly. It might be Israel because um, there was uh, there was an observation made like that Israel responded well to Gary. And something that wasn't in my notes, like someone, the interviewer was asking Gary, why, Gary, why has Israel responded so well to you? And Gary has commented that it's because people people who um, are aware of suffering that have suffered people that have been is it disenfranchised disenfranchised disin dis disin I don't even know how to spell it No, that's not right. Disenfran. No, there it is. Deprived. Oh, yeah, okay. Deprived of right, especially voting. Well, that's not exactly. To deprive a person or organization of a privilege, immunity, or legal right, especially the right to vote. Well, just like when there's a group of people that are can relate to the feeling of being treated poorly. When there's a group of people that have suffered uh, in the past or currently, so this group of people that is can relate to the suffering, can relate also to the suffering of non-human animals. So that's basically how Gary responded. Um, People who have suffered should be able to relate to non-human animals who are currently suffering in the animal agriculture business. So Israel, who has suffered in the past, the people of Israel. So in these interviews, which I think are over in Israel. So in one, he got like there was a school administrator that uh, that did not want to allow Gary to speak to the students. This school administrator was saying, "No, we don't want you to speak, Gary, because we don't like what you have to say. We don't like how you're saying it." She she didn't like how graphic he was with the way he says things, and at one point she said that what he was saying was not true, and um, the interviewer said, "Well, what about that isn't true?" Because um, I don't remember specifically what it was, but it was just one of the many truths, one of the many graphic truths that Gary presents. Like it I think it was involving the dairy industry, how the babies are taken away from mothers in the dairy industry. So the interviewer was like, "What about that isn't true?" And then there was another interview where the woman I hope the other battery did. My other laptop, maybe I better plug that in. Be right back. Okay, all plugged in now. Where was I? Maybe I should stop.